Hi, everybody. I'm Donna Terrell, and once again, welcome to Terrell Talk. I always tell you that this is a program about the human spirit, about stories that will make you happy, might bring a tear to your eye, but if nothing else, it's meant to inspire you. And the person that we have joining us today is all about that kind of inspiration. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Courtney Mims, our new sports director on Fox 16, replacing Wes Moore. It's so good to have you on the program, first of all, for Terrell Talk, but also as our new sports director for Fox 16.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Donna. I mean, I'm just so excited to be here. I love what you're doing with the show. You know that. I've been giving you a lot of compliments on it. And when you said, we want to have you on the show, I said, me? Really? Okay, great. I'm so happy to be here.
Well, I really wanted to talk to you, especially when you talk about inspiration. The fact that you are a female sports director, and I think you're in an industry where a lot of women might be a little intimidated when it comes to sports, but not you. And I admire that.
When I got into the industry, and even back, I mean, this is not that long ago, I feel like in 2018, right? That's not long ago. But there were people when I started in the industry and I was a sports director in Panama City Beach, Florida, there was still an attitude back in 2018 of, ooh, why do we have a female sports director?
And what do you know about sports?
Exactly. And so what I had to do was really, not only did I have to jump into a role, into a new environment. I had grown up in Florida, so I had known, obviously where I was and everything, but I had to learn the area, learn the local sports teams there. I not only had to do that, but I had to win over people that, hey, you should be listening to me. You should be watching me because I'm going to give you the best coverage that you won't see anywhere else. And just because I'm a woman doesn't mean it's going to be any less. And so I had to win people over, and that's hard sometimes when you come out of college and you're 22 years old and you start your job and you're going, oh my gosh, people don't like me. Oh no. And it kind of was a moment where I had to go, you know what? There have been women who have done this before me. There's going to be women who come after me. But how do I want to leave this? How do I help those women who come after me? How do I make those women who made this possible proud of me? And that's what I tried to do. So,
and from my end, observing you, you've accomplished that. And I should probably point out, I know you've been with Fox 16 now for how many weeks?
Oh my gosh, what, like 3, 4?
I don't know. It hasn't, because some might say, well, she's only been on there for 3 or 4 weeks or, a month. We'll give you a month.
Yeah, a month, yeah.
But I have had the good fortune of being able to watch you when you were still within our company of Nexstar, but pretty much working on the Hill.
Yeah.
Razorback Nation.
Yeah, Pig Trail Nation.
Pig Trail Nation. Thank you.
It's okay. We used to be Razorback Nation.
Okay. And I, just to, that's on Channel 4, our sister station. But I remember when the woman who held that position left and you were brought in, and I saw this burst of energy, confidence, and a person who knew the Razorbacks like nobody's business.
And honestly, Donna, I loved the challenge of going into that environment. I had done it in Panama City Beach, where I had to jump into local sports there and learn every high school team and learn everything I needed to know about Panama City Beach and what people want from their local sports coverage. That my next jump, I said, you know what? I want to dive deeper into something bigger now.
Well, you did.
And I did. I said, you know what? The
Razorbacks?
I mean, we talk about sports fanatics, right? I went to the state that has the biggest sports fanatics probably in the nation.
Oh, my word. I mean, you are exactly right. I want to show some, there they are.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I want to show some pictures of Courtney back in the day.
Yeah.
But, it's amazing. And the other thing I will give you, because I do want to talk about the Razorbacks, this actually, we're recording this on a Thursday. It's not going to air until Tuesday. So I don't want to say a lot of things that will date us or make us outdated by the time it actually airs. But you fully understand what's going on with the Razorbacks football specifically right now, and Petrino coming in and all of that. I know you know some of the details that you can't necessarily give us right now, and I respect that. But what can you tell us that Razorback fans can walk away with and either feel confident or scratch their heads and say,
I think Razorback fans right now, Donna, should feel confident. And
Really?
I know that's kind of weird, right? That's strange. Arkansas has a attitude around it when it comes to the fan base of they're going to mess this up, right? They're going to mess up this hire. They're not going to be able to get somebody
that's
that
what
really
a lot of people,
Yes.
because a lot of, not all, but there are lots of schools that have had coaches for years and years and almost decades, if you will.
Yeah.
And we just seem to keep running through coaches.
But that's the name of the business now when it comes to college athletics, right? If you're not, especially college football, you don't have longevity most places. You know, you're not going to have longevity unless you have established yourself as a premier coach and you are winning, right? I mean, Mike Gundy, take him for example. I mean, he was at Oklahoma State for a long time,
Right.
and they just got rid of him, right? Because that is the name of the game. Nolan Richardson once said to me very early on in my career here in Arkansas, and he said, look, he goes, we get hired and we get fired. That's the name of
That's
the
just how it
business.
goes.
That's just how it goes. It doesn't matter how much you're loved. It doesn't matter sometimes how much you're winning. You can be fired for any reason.
But you know what? I'm just going to say this, and I have to say it as
Okay.
a person who will never be a coach of a sports team.
Donna, don't sell yourself short, okay?
Well, you know what? I'm going to sell myself short on this one because when you get fired and you still walk away with millions of dollars, I mean, sometimes getting fired is not so bad. But that's one of the few, I guess CEOs may fall in that category, but that's one of the few areas where you can like reach a point where you're not winning, it's not working, people want you out, and you walk away with the biggest golden parachute on the planet.
Well, if you have a good agent, right? If you have a great agent that can negotiate a very big buyout, that's what I would want. Because I would just say, you know what? Hire me on, right? Do all of that, negotiate a big buyout. So I joked for a long time with people that if I was a college football coach, I would have an agent that would negotiate and absorb an amount of money
Yeah.
from my buyout, and then I tank my first year and get him to fire me.
But you know what? But it goes back to what you just said about Nolan Richardson,
Yeah.
saying that you get hired and you get fired. So when your agent is working for you,
Yeah.
they know, okay, you're going to get fired. Let's make sure. And you know what? And probably during the negotiation, that might be the first thing you negotiate, and then the
Absolutely.
salary. It's like, okay, what happens if things don't work out?
Exactly, and you're thinking like an agent now because that's exactly. See, well, you may not be a coach, Donna, but you could be.
I could be an agent.
You could be an agent because
Oh, my goodness.
I like that.
I like that too.
I think that's
And
great.
then what would be my percentage of all those millions?
Oh, well,
I know it's
could,
up there.
You
It's
could
up there.
negotiate a pretty nice percentage, Donna. You could. But to go back to why I really think that Razorback fans should be excited about this coaching search is because I can say this on your show.
What?
I can tell the people this, is that we've talked to a Board of Trustees member, and he confirmed to us that, look, there's a lot of interest in this job right now. There is a ton of interest. There have been a lot of agents reaching out to Arkansas about wanting this job. And so and I'll say this, Arkansas has not been shy to say, no, you're not good enough. We don't want you. You're not good enough. We're going for something bigger. And so they're not afraid. They have not been afraid to say no to certain candidates
I like
that have
that.
reached out. Exactly. And
It's
so
like
that's
we are not desperate.
Exactly. We're not desperate. We know Arkansas is a premier job in college football. Whether you want to believe that or not, that's how they feel. They know the money is there if the right candidate comes in. There's money in this state. Don't let anybody tell you that there's not. There is money in this state. And with the right candidate, they are going to get financial backing. And that's why this program can be great. The financial backing wasn't there for Sam Pittman. Whether or not you liked him or you didn't like him, he didn't have the resources. Hunter Yurachek said that. With the right candidate, you can get the resources.
Hunter Yurachek upset a lot of fans when he said, we do not have a championship team. I mean, he said something to that
Yeah,
effect, right?
he said, we are not set up
We are not set
to
up
win a championship in college football.
And everyone got so upset. Was he right when he said that, though?
He was. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, I understand now, and I'll say this. He was right to say that, Donna. But should he have said that? Okay. That's the question, right?
Okay.
You know,
I mean, he burst a lot of bubbles for a lot of people out there that are like, rah, rah, rah. And it's like you come out of the gate and you tell us that don't expect big things. And, you know, it's like, well, why are we even here?
And the other thing, too, is that now that soundbite is being played to potential recruits, right? That soundbite, you have opposing coaches going in and going, look at what their athletic director said. They're not.
You know what? I never even thought of it that way.
Oh, yeah. And that's what's been happening. So that's why he had to come out and kind of say, listen, this is what I meant by those comments. But I know that, yes, he was correct in saying that. Should he have said that? No, I don't think so. But they are right now in a good place to find someone who is going to excite this fan base, who is going to re-energize this fan base, who is going to come in and win.
So I think everyone, and I say everyone, when I use the word everyone, it's not everyone, but everyone that I've spoken with seem to be telling me that it's not going to be Petrino. It's not likely to be him. But this is my question. In the time that he'll be in that position, do you think he will do really good things with the team? Case in point, I emceed an event today. Someone won 2 tickets, passes, whatever, all of that stuff to October 25th game against Auburn.
Okay.
And I just made a little joke to the room, and I said, I hope they win. The whole room burst out in laughter with that.
Donna, look at you.
But my question is, on a serious note, does he still have what it takes? And does he have the players in place to really have a winning team over these next few weeks?
Well, he's got a lot of work to do. And what I say by what I mean by that when I say that is that right now there's a lot of division amongst the team. And you have the offense who's playing for Petrino, and you have the defense who is playing for Travis Williams. And they weren't really playing for each other and the team, right? They weren't really coming together. And so Petrino said, my first order of business is trying to get this team to come together. There's division on both sides, and I've got to try and get them to play as one.
Is he the person to do that?
That's the question. That's the $1 million question.
And I asked it.
And you asked it. There you go, Donna. And I can't tell you exactly how this team's going to feel. I know the defense, there was a lot of defensive players who were not happy about him going in and firing Travis Williams, Marcus Woodson, and Deke Adams. That's 3 defensive coaches right off the bat. We all knew Travis Williams was probably going to get fired with the way the defense has looked.
Yeah.
But 2 more coaches on top of that. You had defensive players tweeting, thumbs down.
So who's
thumbs
taking
down.
their roles right now until they're replaced?
So right now,
they're backup coaches?
Yeah, exactly. So you have assistant coaches who have been promoted, but right now the only move that they have made is Chris Wilson, who was an assistant on the defensive side, has been promoted to interim defensive coordinator. Not a bad move. He has a great resume when it comes to calling defenses, that he's had stops at other places, and been their defensive coordinator. He's had a stop at Colorado, Mississippi State. He's also been on the coaching staff with the Eagles when they won a Super Bowl in 2017.
Nice. So he's got experience.
He has experience. So nobody should feel scared about that move. However, you still have 2 other openings, right? There's been, so what you going to do? I asked Petrino what he was going to do. He said, we're going to go out and get some help for that side of the ball. No timeline on it. So I asked him, I said, no, there's no timeline on it right now. And by the time this airs, they may have made some moves there.
Good point.
But he's going to go out and get some help for the linebackers and the defensive line.
So, we could sit here and talk about Razorbacks, which, I'm sure half of the folks watching this want to know everything there is to know about the Razorbacks. I also commend you because your knowledge of the Razorbacks, and not just football, but basketball and so on. All of that is awesome. For Fox 16, you're doing a lot of high school football right now. So how do you make that transition when you've been up on the hill covering the Razorbacks exclusively for the most part, and then you come here and now you jump into high school football, which is big.
Oh,
by the way.
Yes, it's huge. And especially in Arkansas, just with all the teams that they have. And let's be honest, when Bryant is ranked nationally in one of the polls this past week, they're number 5 in the nation. How can it not be big when you're talking about high school football in this state? But the transition is kind of interesting because I always say to people, I go, if you're interested in college football, right? If you're interested in the Razorbacks or you're interested in whichever your team is, if your team's LSU, Ole Miss, whatever, Texas, you got to be plugged in what's going on with high school football. You've got to be plugged in with some of the immense talent that is in the state of Arkansas. And so for me, it's an easy transition because I'm going, wait a second. Now I have even more background to talk Razorbacks because I can talk about some of the high school guys that we're seeing around the state, that guys that Arkansas should be targeting if they haven't already, right? Guys that you may be seeing on a screen near you playing on Saturdays, then possibly playing on Sundays. I think the stories of these kids, and I'll go back to one of the Razorbacks that I'll give you an example. Linebacker Xavier Sorey for the Razorbacks. I got to cover him in high school. When I was in Florida as a sports director, I covered him from when people were first starting to realize that he was going to be special. And so that, to me, that relationship that I've had, that I've cultivated, that I got to cover you at the high school ranks, and now I'm watching you play for the Razorbacks.
That's so cool.
It's beautiful. And so for me, it's always been about relationships, Donna. And now I get to dive into those relationships a little bit more because no matter if they're playing for the Razorbacks or they're playing for Ole Miss, Florida, LSU, Alabama, Auburn, doesn't matter. To get to cover them at this level and then watching them succeed at the next level, that's why I do this.
That's so cool.
That's why I do
this. That is so cool. Fun fact, you were born in England.
Yes.
London specifically?
Not London specifically, but a little town called Maidstone, which is, if you know your, English geography, good for you if you know where that is. But most people recognize it by its outside of Kent. So White Cliffs of Dover, if the English Channel, a lot of boats come that way out of Kent to go to France. And
a lot of people should know, what I really want them to know is this whole sports thing, this whole sports vibe that you got it honest, as the saying goes, because your dad was a professional basketball coach in England.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Donna. A lot of people don't realize, and this is the reason why everybody asks me, what's your favorite sport? Don't you love college football?
And I say basketball.
I go basketball. College basketball has been where it's at for me for the longest time, and that's because of my dad. But he coached overseas in England. Everyone always goes, well, were you a military baby? Because, that's the only reason why I have an American accent.
Right. Why would I
be growing up in England and across the pond? Well, no, it's because of my dad. My dad got an opportunity to coach in the British Basketball League. And so he took that opportunity from coaching in the college ranks in Florida, said, you know what? I'm going to go overseas and do this professionally. And man, people don't really realize how many coaches that have gone to the NBA ranks that coached against him, like Nick Nurse, and he knows Chris Finch from his days coaching overseas. Wow. And so it's so cool to get to tell that people that's where I got my start. Yeah. My dad was a professional basketball coach over there, coaching the London Leopards and the Leicester Riders. And so when I was young, I got to be courtside. I got to just experience that with him.
And and the beauty of that is, and especially as a young girl growing up, you become unafraid of sports.
Yeah.
And unafraid to learn the game. I talk to women today who don't understand football because they're intimidated by it. They'll go to a game, I recognize a touchdown and all of that. And this is kind of off of what the subject, but I remember this was 1,000,001 years ago. I didn't really understand the game of football.
Yeah.
And this guy said to me, he said, all of those football players out there, they understand it. Why can't you?
Yeah.
It's like, why can't you?
Yeah.
And that mental block lifted, and it was like, okay, let me learn the game. And so now when I watch football, I enjoy it. But I brought that up to say, same thing with basketball and seeing your dad at the helm and understanding the game, and then you don't have that barrier preventing you. You're unafraid to learn the sports world, if you will.
And you're always learning. That's what I tell people all the time. Don't think that just because somebody played the game doesn't mean they're still learning about the game. I've talked to people who have played the game of football, and here's the thing. I haven't played football, right? I haven't. But doesn't mean I'm trying to learn about it. Right. Doesn't mean I'm going to go up to you and go, you know what? Can you explain this blitz package for me? Can you explain the cover 4 defense? Because I want to learn. Because I haven't played it like you, so I want to learn. Tell me what I need to know.
But the beauty of that is being unafraid and not having that mental block that sometimes people, when they're intimidated by something, it's like, I still don't get it. He explained it or she explained it, but I still don't get it.
Yeah.
And I think that helps women especially to overcome those barriers when people might look at you and say, okay, what do you really know about basketball? Or what do you really know about football? And it's like, well, I know a whole lot, but I'm willing to learn even more.
Exactly. And I won't sit here and go, I know everything that you need to know. So trust me, my dad still asks me questions. He's coached the game. He asks me questions sometimes because you're always learning. The game is different overseas. The game is different here. The game is, there's similarities, but don't be afraid to ask questions. And to what I say to your viewers that are scared, don't be. Yeah. Don't be. It's not that complicated when you really break it down.
Well, and
it's
that's
not that complicated.
That's what the friend said to me years ago. It was like, Donna, these people, those players out there on the field, they all understand the game. There's no reason why you can't understand the game either, at least to a point of enjoyment. But we have 5 minutes.
Oh, no.
So people should know that you're engaged to Jeff.
Yes.
Jeff Goff.
Jeff Goff.
Yes. And I think we have, look at that.
Oh.
So you took photos over at the state capitol.
We did because I don't think people know this, but Central Arkansas is very special to me. He is a Conway boy. He grew up in Conway. And so his family is over in Conway, Arkansas. And I just said to him when we were deciding where to take engagement photos, I said, you know what? I love the state capitol.
You look beautiful there.
Thank
you.
You.
Absolutely stunning.
Thank you.
I can only imagine how great it's going to look on your wedding day.
Thank you.
So where's the wedding?
It's in Charleston, South Carolina. And a lot of people have asked me, wait, why is it in Charleston, South Carolina? And when we were deciding where we wanted to get married, my grandparents on my dad's side, so my dad is from South Carolina, my mom is from London, but my grandparents on my dad's side, they are still alive, and they're the only set of grandparents that we still have alive on Jeff's side as well. And so we said, you know what, they can't travel,
so we're going to go to them.
Exactly,
we're going to take our wedding to them. And Grandma,
yes, Grandma Mims,
Grandma Mims watches you on this platform, which is amazing that she now has the app downloaded on her TV.
Yes.
And she's watching now, in fact.
Yes. So
Hi,
shout out Grandma.
Hi,
shout
Grandma.
out Grandma.
Hi, Grandma.
She loves Terrell Talk. She loves our show. It's amazing what technology can do, Donna, because she is able, I guess not allowed, able to watch our newscasts from South Carolina.
I know, isn't that great?
It's just crazy to me that that local news now is not local
not
anymore.
It's global.
Yes.
It's global. It really is.
It's just amazing. And so, she loves the show. shout out to you, Donna. She loves you. And so I'm happy she's able to watch.
Shout out to Grandma, and thank you. And I refer to Grandma Mims now as my grandma too, only because you tell me so much about her, and she sounds like a wonderful grandma.
She is lovely. Yeah. She and my granddad are lovely people, and so shout out to both of them and for watching this. Yes. And she'll send you a Christmas card. We can get that worked out.
Yay! Well, listen, I think we've run out of time, but I'm so glad you were able. You're so busy. I'm glad you were able to take a half hour and spend with me here on Terrell Talk, and of course, folks can watch Courtney on Fox 16 News at 5:30, 6:30, and 9 weekdays, weeknights. We thank you so much. I personally thank you from the bottom of my heart for being part of this program.
Donna, thank you for having me on. This is like a bucket list thing for me. It's just sitting down and talking with you for 30 minutes. So thank you so much for allowing me
You're
to come
very
on.
kind to say that. Thank you, Courtney. And I want to thank all of you for tuning in, and come back again next week. So long, everybody.